Welcome to this deep dive explainer of one of the absolute most chilling narratives we've encountered yet, the terrifying events of Midnight Room number 307. Today, we're analyzing the pivotal 8th chapter, Beyond the Black Door. If you've been following the intense lore of this story, you already know the tension has been building to a total breaking point. We're going to break down the mechanics of fear, the heavy burden of sacrifice, and those sudden, wild narrative twists that make this source material so incredibly gripping. We'll be looking really closely at the sensory details and the structural choices the author uses to trap us right alongside the characters. So go ahead and prepare yourself because we are stepping directly into the abyss. All right, let's just dive right into this pitch black darkness. You see, the source text doesn't just have a door open. It actually unleashes a full-blown physical experience. Imagine just standing in that hotel corridor. The massive black door finally swings open, and immediately, the very walls of the entire hotel start to violently shake. The author establishes right off the bat that this isn't just another room. It's a literal disruption of reality itself. And then, riding on this sudden freezing rush of wind, an eerie whisper echoes out. Welcome to the final door. It's not a greeting, right? It's a warning. It instantly sets this overwhelming tone of inescapable doom. Which brings us to Section 1, Beyond the Black Door, Stepping into Darkness. It's right at this terrifying precipice that Meera, who, remember, has been our steady guide through so much of this ordeal, completely loses her composure. She steps back in just sheer panic, her voice literally trembling. With tears streaming down her face, she reveals the chilling truth to Aryan. It is the prison of souls. Now, the absolutely crucial detail here is her total despair when she adds that no one has ever returned from this place. By breaking a highly knowledgeable character like Meera, the author is sending a massive signal to us. Whatever lies ahead completely defies all the previously established rules of survival. So left with absolutely zero other options and their backs completely against the wall, we get this moment of intense character definition. Aryan and Rohit just exchange a look. There's no lengthy, dramatic dialogue here, just a grim, silent agreement. They have to push forward. Stepping into that all-consuming darkness requires a massive leap of faith. As we analyze their journey, it is so vital to recognize this moment of agency. They aren't just falling into a trap. They're actively choosing to step into the unknown to confront whatever curse is actually plaguing them. Let's move into our next area, Section 2, the Prison of Souls, a horrific landscape. Just look at the stark environmental details the author uses to paint this post-apocalyptic nightmare world. As the characters' eyes finally adjust, they don't see four walls. Instead, they see these sprawling, ruined buildings crumbling into a burnt, scarred earth. Right above them stretches a suffocating red, smoky sky. But honestly, the most horrifying element isn't the architecture. It's the inhabitants. Stretching as far as the eye can see are millions of shadows. Millions of them. They're completely motionless. They've got these glowing eyes, and yet their faces are entirely devoid of any expression. The sheer scale of this prison is suddenly laid bare, and it is overwhelmingly vast. And man, just as the scale of that horror really sinks in, the author completely shatters the silence. Imagine the tension as millions of those expressionless, glowing-eyed shadows suddenly move. In perfect, unnatural unison, millions of heads snap directly toward Aryan. The entire scorched landscape just echoes as they speak with one collective, booming voice. Living human. I mean, it is a total masterclass in building dread. Our heroes are completely exposed, deeply outnumbered, and instantly identified as outsiders in this literal realm of the dead. Now we hit Section 3, the Guardian's Ultimatum, the curse's price. The arrival of this warden is heralded by pure sensory overload. From deep beneath the burnt ground comes this rhythmic, earth-shattering sound. Boom, boom, boom. Every single step causes the ground to violently quake. And bursting forth from the darkness is a colossal, shadowy figure. We are talking about a monstrosity standing an imposing 30 feet tall. By establishing this massive vertical scale, the author physically dwarfs Aryan and Rohit, basically making any thought of physical combat seem utterly impossible. Let's actually break down the horrifying anatomy of this colossal guardian as it's described in the text. It possesses these demonic horns protruding straight from its head. Its massive form is bound in heavy iron chains, which kind of suggests it's as much a prisoner as it is a warden, right? And replacing the cold glow of those millions of shadows, this creature has burning red fire just raging in its eyes. With a voice that echoes like thunder, it declares itself the protector of the curse, stating definitively that no living human can ever return from this place. And this brilliantly illustrates the central theme of the entire story, which is sacrifice. When Aryan, understandably trembling, asks how to stop the curse, the Guardian reveals the brutal mechanics of this prison. It's a terrifying ultimatum, because every curse has a price. If things remain as they are, all these millions of souls stay trapped for eternity. But if just one living soul willingly chooses to stay behind, literally sacrificing their own life and freedom, the rest can be liberated. It is such a brilliant narrative device that forces a deeply moral and honestly tragic decision right onto our protagonists. I really want you to let the heavy emotional weight of this dilemma sink in for a second. Look at Rohit and Aryan, the realization dawning on both of them simultaneously. This monster cannot be defeated by force. There's no way. The only way to save everyone else, the only way to break the curse, is for one of them to die right here in this desolate wasteland. The pacing slows down significantly here, transitioning from that visceral, monstrous horror into a deep, heartbreaking psychological dread. This takes us to Section 4, an unexpected weapon, defying the ultimatum. Suddenly, breaking that heavy silence, Meera sprints forward from the background. The text gives her this incredibly powerful, defiant scream. No, no one else will give their life this time. It's a massive character moment for her. She absolutely refuses to accept the Guardian's ultimatum. She refuses to let this cycle of tragedy and sacrifice continue. But here's the kicker. She doesn't attack this 30-foot fire-eyed demon with a sword or a gun. Let's methodically break down this chaotic, rapid-fire climax, because the contrast here is exactly what makes it so brilliant. First, Meera yells her defiance. Second, she throws something incredibly mundane, an old teddy bear she'd been holding on to. Third, the very second that simple, innocent object hits the cursed, burnt ground, a blinding white light absolutely erupts, swallowing the entire world. And fourth, the towering Guardian actually screams in pure agony as the massive iron chains binding it begin to shatter and break. The author uses a simple symbol of childhood innocence to physically shatter an ancient demonic curse. It's a stunning subversion of what we'd expect. Which sets us up for Section 5, A Greater Evil Awakens, the False Victory. As that brilliant white light fades, the atmosphere doesn't lighten up. In fact, it grows heavier. In the deep, suffocating darkness that remains, two massive, glowing red eyes suddenly snap open. And this isn't the Guardian. The text specifically describes the manifestation of a totally new unseen power, an entity that lurks in the shadows, possessing an aura so immensely oppressive that it completely drops the temperature of the entire scene. To truly understand the absolute horror of this moment, we really have to look at the reaction of the 30-foot Guardian. This colossal beast, which literally just moments ago was dictating the terms of life and death, suddenly drops to its knees. The text notes its voice is actually trembling in sheer terror as it whispers, "He has awakened. Now, no one is safe." By showing us that the terrifying monster is itself terrified, the author brilliantly establishes an entirely new, unimaginable scale of power and evil. And then, emanating directly from those two red eyes in the dark, a horrifying, echoing laughter just fills the void. A voice slices right through the shattered remains of their false victory, declaring, "Now the real game will begin." It completely, utterly destroys any relief the characters and, honestly, we as the audience just felt. They haven't broken the prison at all. They've just unlocked the warden's master. Which leaves us perfectly perched on the edge of our seats with a massive cliffhanger. The author has expertly layered this horror, moving from a haunted room to a prison of souls to a giant warden, and finally to an awakening god of darkness. So who is the true master of this prison? And what terrifying rules govern this real game they've just unwittingly initiated? These are the crucial questions the source material leaves burning in our minds. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer and for analyzing the incredible structure of this narrative with us. I know I, for one, absolutely can't wait to see what terror awaits behind the next door. Keep analyzing, keep questioning, and we'll see exactly how this nightmare unfolds next time.